Mine's just one. It's just 1 hour past what I normally do. To my some one late ass like, what's good, Sonny? What's good, support? Yeah, I had to go to one in Memphis. I'm glad, nigga. I didn't have no normal barber that I go to. Shit. What's that? Dinner's on you. Give me about what 30 more seconds before, and then I'll go ahead and start. That's a good twist. That's true. Y'all niggas sleep. How's this not after hours? Because the next day, I get it. Whatever. About 15 more seconds. Definitely hit the like button, that last name. What's good, Hezekiah? Salt. Yeah, YouTube be doing that shit, but I don't know why. There's a lot of people that I'm subscribed to, and it will not tell you that they going live. All right. So as you can see, we got 4 topics. We got ghosts. Pretty much all of these is going to be dealing with power tonight. We got ghosts' biggest downfall. Pretty much going to be discussing what were the events that took place that ultimately led to his alleged death. Because in my opinion, I still think that he's alive. But they've been telling us that he's dead. So we're gonna be basically covering all the things that happened that led up to it, things he could have done to potentially prevent it, things of that nature. Oh, they last niggas need to hit the like button. What's going on? I see on my end it should say 2 likes. But anyways, the next one we got the greatest betrayal. Basically, we're gonna be talking about the things that basically the person that did the biggest betrayal of all of Power Universe. And basically what I'm saying is to basically qualify as the biggest betrayal, like what you did impacted a whole lot of people. So we're gonna go with the greatest betrayal. Then we're gonna talk about the most influential death. So basically the death that impacted pretty much the entire Power universe. So it was a huge chain of reaction, you know what I'm saying? And then lastly, we're gonna cover the MVC. So basically the MVC is the most valuable character outside of Ghost. You can't use Ghost. So outside of Ghost, who is the most valuable character of the Power universe? Like if that character wasn't there, this would be different. Like so much would be different. I think I pretty much got an idea of all of the ones, my answers to all of this. But who knows? Maybe after speaking with you guys, I might change my answer. But that is our 4 categories. So we're gonna go right back to number one to the first one. I'm gonna read up on some of these comments. Ghost's biggest downfall is easy. If he kills Kanan and blame it on someone they were beefing with, then there wouldn't have been a Kanan to influence Tariq, and Dre wouldn't have probably been killed in jail. Hmm. I mean, I can see that's a valid answer. I can see where you're going with that. 2 bits should be enforced next season, but that's not happening. What's up, Steve? What's up, D? I think Ghost's biggest downfall was his ego. Hmm. Okay, so go ahead and substantiate your argument with that, D. I'm interested to hear that. If Ghost had popped Kanan years ago, he wouldn't be an issue in the future. But Tariq would still hate him for being with Angela. That's inevitable. Okay. Might say the MVC, the PDF Malcolm Howard. Hmm. Anybody else that want to weigh in? I wish we had a bigger audience right now, but I really want to hear people's answer to this. I think D gave her answer. Hezekiah gave his. Support gave theirs. Steve, I don't think you gave yours yet. And Shay Will, you haven't given yours. know what? I had the same problem for years. I think it's just YouTube not recommending the channel. So yeah, that's what it is, support. Because I know for sure I have my notification bell on for certain channels, and I still don't get notified. So it's not that. YouTube just do what they want to do. Nah, he alive by being alive, walking around. All right, nigga, how you know what Legacy Casting say? Why did my comments go all the way up? Though? I just noticed that. What the fuck? What if Kanan was never born? I mean, pretty much when we dig into, the MVC, we'll talk about that. But that's the last topic. Ghost's biggest downfall to me is not listening to Proctor ever, it seems. Okay, can you please elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by him not listening to Ghost? Ghost constantly lectured Tariq about staying out of the game while actively living as a kingpin, a contradiction that drove Tariq to resent his father and ultimately kill him. Hmm. So basically, Steve, your claim is that his biggest downfall is consistently lying to his son that ultimately led to his downfall because Tariq allegedly killed him. Very valid. That's a good point. Ghost downfalls stemmed from a combination of internal flaws and external pressures, but arguably his biggest downfall was greed and the desire to lead the drug game, leading to a series of choices. That's why I was. That's why I said Malcolm Howard, the MVC. He doesn't sleep with Rock. That it's probably no Kanan. That's funny. No Kanan means who is going to teach Tommy and Ghost the game. Well, I'll just say that more than likely somebody else is going to do it. I mean, they still was going to be hungry on the streets. If Kanan didn't do it, somebody else would have. So now I don't think Kanan not being around would have prevented that. The ultimate that ultimately put him in conflict with almost everyone. His ambition, complicated personal relationships, especially with Angela, Tasha, and Tariq, and the inherent dangers of the drug world. It's funny when Proctor got mad at Ghost about Angela, he told Ghost, it seems like her magical little I know exactly what scene you're talking about. Her magical little pussy keeps twisting my words around. But he was wrong about that though. He wasn't even right. Angela didn't even betray him. Just saying. You need to listen to me, James. They are going hard. Yeah, I like that saying though. Created a situation where he lost control, culmin- culminating. Damn, my ass, my. When you from the south, and boy, your tongue be getting tired, boy. I tell you. Anyways, it is his death at the hands of his own son, Tariq. Ghost's downfall was a slow burn, a consequence of trying to balance a life of crime with a desire for legitimacy while led to a web of lies, conflicting relationships, and ultimately his own demise. Ghost was never leaving the game. We still don't dirt. We, I mean, we still doing dirt the same day he was nominated for governor. He paid too big to smoke J. Hey, to his defense with that though, the only reason why he was still out there doing stuff was because his past was still coming back to hunt him. That's really what that was. I think if God came down from heaven and said, "Hey, you got one wish. If you want to get out the game, I'll grant that for you right now, and nobody else will, follow behind you, and nothing else will, pull you back in if that's what you desire." I think he'll take it. Biggest downfall was not taking Tariq to that Knicks game. All right. So I believe everybody that's in the chat right now has given their opinion on it. I've given everyone's. I wanted Dee to kind of give me a follow up about her saying his ego, and then Sonny saying, not listening to Proctor, but I haven't gotten a follow up with them. So I guess I'll give it 30 more seconds, and I'm gonna just go ahead and reveal what I believe the answer is. So far, it's not nothing that none of you guys have said, though. I'll say that. You said you surprised nobody said Angela. Okay, so my opinion, Ghost's biggest downfall, what the things that could have prevented, since y'all going that deep like that, we really pay attention. The things that could have prevented all of this. Hold up, let me read this. Now I think about it, doing everything in front of Tasha and then Tasha don't know shit. And he can't tell his pops so much. I'm a little confused on that. It's easy to say Angela, but he ended up outliving her. But anyway, so my answer to this is you guys got to, I think we got to go back a little further. Although we didn't physically see this as of yet, we do know about this due to, we know about this due to, OG Power. They talked about it. Angela in season, what is that, 4? Talked about when she said, I think I want to say it was episode 407. It was 407, 408, one of them. I know it was in season 4. Angela was talking to him because he had an interview with that Gabriel lady or whoever her name is, and Simon Stern, because they was trying to polish his image. And basically, he was saying a girl that he grew up with had an opportunity to go to a school choke while he had to stay there and defend for himself on these streets. And later on, Angela let him know that she saw the interview, but that's not exactly accurate. She said you had an opportunity to go too, but you chose to stay because you said you couldn't leave Tommy behind. So if you ask me, if he would have just left Tommy behind and listened to Angela and went to Cho, all of that would have been prevented. So that's really where his biggest fuck up, where he messed up at. He should have just went to Cho. Now, if you want to talk about his big, and even if we go as far as saying, just his downfall in general. If you ask me, judging by that statement and all the stuff that he kept doing, trying to, you know, help protect Tommy. Tommy was his downfall. Even though he was his best friend, Tommy was his downfall. Think about how much mess Ghost got into because Tommy wouldn't listen. So, like even the Joe Proctor situation, think about that. The only reason why he went to jail is um, because Greg Knotts had that access to that tape where he kept, he was taking out that Homeland Security lab. So Ghost went into Greg's apartment to try to, get the get the tape back. He never would have had to do that if Tommy would have just wouldn't have been so reckless and unalived him in the middle of that damn apartment. So the answer is, in my opinion, Tommy was his downfall. His ass should have just went to choke, went to school, and like he told Kanan in episode 610, if he wasn't raised by Kanan, he's somewhere in business school. Well, guess what? If he would have went to choke and left all that behind, maybe he would have went to business school. And then perhaps, let's say Tariq, Raina, and Yaz would have still been alive. Obviously, we're just going with, hypotheticals right now. But let's just say that they still would have been alive. He could have still had his same family, just they would have been born. They probably would have been half Puerto Rican, because more than likely, Angela would have been his wife. Despite his desire to move into legitimate business and politics, Ghost was always drawn back to the drug world, often by Tasha, which created a cycle of enemies and violence he could not escape. Yeah, but all of that's true. But all of that, happens after what the events that I'm speaking of. When the Jamaicans ambushed him and Tariq in season 3, I want to say episode 305. It was episode 305, the same episode Holly was unalived. All I remember off the top of my head is it's the episode Holly was killed. Yeah, 305. This is why I not. This is why I now appreciate Power Book 2. How Tariq demoted Braden, because he basically would have been the same downfall as Ghost with Tommy, because Braden was wild. I 100% agree with that support. I think, yeah, what I think happened is Tariq was able to learn from his father's mistake. I think he was able to see that Tommy was holding him back, and I think this is more confirmation that more than likely, once Legacy starts, he's gonna love his uncle and stuff like that. But I think that's why he's gonna eventually off Tommy, because he's gonna see it. He's like, I wouldn't be surprised if he said a line similar to similar to this. I'm gonna do what my father should have done years ago and pop him. That's the biggest downfall is James. His biggest downfall is Ghost. What's Tommy and the Kanan ordeal? Well, yeah, that's why I said Tommy. But yeah, I mean, knocking off. Let's go ahead and go with the other one that you said with him knocking off Kanan, right? That obviously would have changed a lot of things. I believe if he offed Kanan, he never would have been able to come back to hunt him. Um, you know, Sean never would have got that seed planted in his head his about him betraying Kanan, so he wouldn't have put the gun to his head. Probably never would have got to know Dre at all because Kanan brought him around. A lot of things absolutely would have changed for sure, and more than likely, Tariq never would have went down that bad path. But you just never know. Angela began season 4 convention that Ghost murdered Greg Knox. Okay, Angela eventually discovered that Mike, a detective, was the actual gambler and the more clear. This might be saying, why you be saying so much stuff that don't be exactly on topic? Then again, I don't know, because even if Ghost went to choke, he possibly could have still been in the same selling pills like Tariq in book 3. Kanan was selling to rich kids. I think Angela's influence would have stopped him from doing that. I think the only reason why he still stayed behind and did that is because of the influence of Tommy and Kanan. Because think about this: in season two, when Tommy was locked up, episodes 209, he came. She was coming to talk with Tommy, and it was the same episode he was talking about um, the axe. It's like your pussy. It's the axe that just eat his brain. And she was like, you ate it on first, asshole, or something like that. Basically, they're implying there that it seems like when they were children, they both were struggling for to try to which way Ghost life will turn out to be. So I believe Go Angela was constantly because and you can tell by the stuff that she said throughout season one. Angela was constantly trying to get, Ghost to turn his back to the streets. But Ghost was under the influence of Tommy and Kanan. So I believe if he would have went to choke, Tommy's damn so not going to choke. She would have influenced him like, look, I know it's hard, but if we stay, we have each other, we both focus and focus on our schooling, we'll both make it in the long run. And I believe he would have done that. That's just my opinion. I don't think he would have been doing no, trying to slang to the young kids and stuff like that because he would have had to try to do it without Angela knowing, and eventually she would have found out. That's just my opinion. It was the recording of Tommy admitting to Ruiz that they worked for Lobos, and the fact Tommy killing Ruiz was also on that recording. Tommy took out the Homeland guy after Ghost was already in jail. Right, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. You're right about that. But you get where I was going with it. It was the fact that Ghost was coming to get the get the tape. Not gonna lie, I thought Tariq was gonna kill Braden. When in the end of season four, Ghost lawyer Proctor and Silver worked to rehabilitation his image and reputation while he remains in prison. This nigga. Yeah, that's what I be talking about. Like, nigga, we do that. Like, all of us has watched the show religiously. I'm pretty sure all of us do that. Mark brings Angela back to the prosecution team, putting her in a different position must where she must Tasha. What? I just got off the charts. What time did y'all start? I started a little bit later today, bro. I started like 12. So in the East Coast, like 1. The biggest factor between besides Angela leaving and Tommy to keep Ghost in the game, it was Ghost's dad dying. I thought about that too, support. I definitely thought about, the death of Ghost's father, but that could kind of be made as a case for, you know, one of the third topic, the most influential death. But we'll get to that. They pulled him in deep because his father tried to keep him away from that life too. Right. You mean apologize like you did your side, bitch, right? The fuck did you just say to me, little nigga? Like, yeah, he said, little motherfucker. Say it. I just watched that episode too, like maybe a day ago or so. But yeah, so I mean, Takara, if you want to weigh in and give your opinion on this topic before we move on, because I'm about to pretty much move to the second one. What was Ghost's biggest downfall that pretty much led to the events that ended up taking place? It ain't working. Oh, it's not on. Let me see. God damn it. Oh yeah, no. What kind of freaky ass shit they on? So why that button work but that one was down? It's crazy work. Crazy as hell. Shit, that freaking. Ghost's biggest downfall was that he couldn't let go of his past, Tommy and Angela. Well, see, he partially agreeing with what I said. I don't know if I can necessarily say Angela was part of his downfall because I think if he would have, I get where you're going with it because later on Angela became part of the problem. But I believe if he would have just gotten rid of Tommy in the first place, more than likely he would have been with Angela from the beginning, and he never would have messed his family up because she would have been the one he created his family with, more than likely. Biggest fan of his house, Angela leaving and Tommy too key else in the game. It was okay. Yeah, right there. You mean apologize like you okay right there? That okay? So yeah, I'm pretty much up. The first time Tariq met Ghost and not James, right? His ass forgot who he was for a second. Like that with their argument in season 5 on Tariq's birthday. Yeah, that was cool too. Drunk goes, how you getting that? I ain't paying for it. I don't want your fucking money, Ghost. Goes, what the fuck did you say? Look, motherfucker, Tariq, that's it. What if he would have? Yeah, what if he would have doubled down on what he said? But anyways, though, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head to this second topic. Go ahead and go to this next one. So, the greatest betrayal. So, as we know, this is power, which is filled with a bunch of finessing ass niggas. So, a lot of betrayal is going on. And we're not just talking about the original power, we're dealing with all of them. What was the biggest betrayal in power history? If you ask me, it's more than likely part of the original power, probably, but let's go ahead and see what everybody got. Top 10 arguments in power history. I'll probably do an individual video on that one. Then bring it on the live. But yeah, I think that's cool. It's been some good ones. So you talking about the biggest betrayal per book? What are you talking about, Steve? That Ghost manipulated Tommy. All right, so biggest betrayal per book. I still would say one of them is bigger than the other one, but okay, let's go ahead and do that. So biggest betrayal in the original Power, then book two, then Raising Kanan, and of course Force. Since I kind of let y'all go first on the first topic, I guess I'll go ahead and share mine first. So in the original Power, the biggest betrayal, actually the biggest betrayal, and I think is the biggest betrayal in the whole Power universe. I can see if y'all can change my mind about this. But I think the biggest betrayal is when Dre betrayed Ghost. Now, hit me out the reason why I say it is. Think about this. If Ghost never betrayed, I mean, if Dre never betrayed Ghost, a lot of events never would have happened. So when Kanan returned and pressed Dre like that, after he got his daughter back, he could have just told Ghost what was going on. He could be like, "Hey man, this nigga Kanan is still alive, and he pulled up on me and my daughter." And then Ghost and him could have strategically came up with a plan along with Tommy to get rid of Kanan. But instead, he got spooked and was playing both sides, which ultimately led to Tariq meeting Kanan. And that's how Kanan was able to, sink his claws into Tariq and influence him to do a lot of things that, he never probably would have ended up doing had he met Kanan. So Dre portraying Ghost is what caused Tariq to meet Kanan. Kanan manipulated Tariq. Tariq ultimately ended up doing bad moves that led to the death of Raina, Kanan, Lakeisha, Ray Ray, um, Ghost. Like that nigga was laying for Proctor. That nigga got everybody murked after that. But if Dre would have never betrayed Ghost, none of that would have happened. So that's for the original power. Book two, shit. Greatest betrayal in book two. I didn't have no head start. Takara kind of caught me off guard with this one. Shit. Damn. I guess you can go with, but I don't know if you can even count. I was gonna say Noma, you know, what she did to Kanan that ultimately led to Monet being taken out, but can you really say that's a betrayal? Because we all knew. And I feel like everybody else knew that she wasn't, really for Kane. Kane was the only one who couldn't see it. So I don't know. Maybe that was though. It could be, Monet setting up Lorenzo to die because pretty much everything fell apart after that. So it could be it. Raising Kanan, the biggest betrayal would end up being okay, so I got it. The biggest betrayal for raising Kanan is Ronnie attacking Unique, nearly killing Unique. And I'm gonna tell y'all how. So if Ronnie never would have betrayed Unique and did what he did to him, um, Unique never would have went dirt shit crazy like that, thinking Rock was against him, all the little crazy stuff that he did afterwards. Um, Also, I think Famous probably would have stayed, would have stayed living in his apartment, right? He never would have had to move out and go back to his mom because Ronnie wouldn't have been there to scare him away. Possibly. I mean, that's why I don't know. Possibly, but I just think if Ronnie would have did that, it's possible that Famous would have lived because Famous never would have moved back to his mom's house and took that gun with him. And remember, him taking that gun to his mom's house is how he ended up getting arrested. And him getting arrested is what led to him being killed. And him being killed is what led to, you know, Kanan ultimately, wanting to take out his mom along with Crystal. But keep in mind, the only reason why Crystal was taken out is because Crystal knew too much, and the same people, though, trying to keep Kanan from finding out the truth. Crystal was collateral damage to that, and that's how she was killed. But if Ronnie would have did none of the stuff he did, I think Famous lives, and we would be looking at a totally different storyline. So maybe Ronnie was the greatest betrayal of raising him betraying his brother Unique was the greatest betrayal of raising Kanan. And the final one, Forrest, hmm, I think we haven't seen it yet with Forrest. For me, Forrest's greatest betrayal is probably going to be Diamond and Jannard trying to turn in D-Mac behind Tommy's back. That's what I think it's going to ultimately be the worst betrayal. So there's my four. I know I kind of took a while. Let me see what y'all say. Book two has to be Effie, Diana, Drew turning on Tariq. You right. I can't even get around it. You right. It has to be. I should have thought of that about that from the beginning. But yeah, it definitely is. Because if they didn't, if Diana would have never really not really so much Effie because Effie's didn't matter. More so Diana because if Diana would have just told the truth to Kane and said, it wasn't Tariq, then they would have been looking for somebody else, and the betrayal of the warehouse never would have happened. And then, that led to, the war between Tariq and Noma, and the only reason why Noma was so mad at him because he threatened to harm her daughter. He never would have had to use that trump card had Diana just told the truth. I mean, you can throw Effie in there too because she's the one that told Noma that so that she can move her daughter. But either way, that still doesn't matter. It still would have if Diana and Drew didn't do what they did, all of that could have been preventable. So I definitely agree. It has to be that thing. Dre would have still died. Kanan was coming after him if he ratted him out. But no, if he would have told Ghost, maybe with the combination of Ghost, Dre, and Tommy on the same side, they may could have taken Kanan out before he got to do that. That's what I'm saying. Either way, him betraying Ghost is still what led to all of that. Those events I said. Imagine if Dre fought back, punched Kanan after being choked back. He would have been dead that day. That'd have been the end of Dre right there. Book two biggest betrayal was Weston Holdings being a Ponzi scheme and robbing Tariq and Tejadas of their inheritance. That's a big one. I don't think it's bigger than I don't think it's bigger than Diana and Drew betraying Tariq because that led to a lot of shit. Actually, we didn't even got to say forget that. I take that back. I think we're in the right realm, but I think we're overlooking something. The biggest betrayal probably was Diana and Drew betraying Monet. Because think about this. They never would have had to even lie on Tariq had they didn't betray their mother. But you also can go back to what I said in the original. If Monet never betrayed, now, actually, I'm right. Forget that. I'm gonna flex on y'all ass a little bit. I was right from the beginning because if Monet never betrayed Lorenzo, Diana never would have wanted, and Drew never would have wanted revenge on Monet. So what happened after that? All of that could have been prevented if she just wouldn't have, betrayed Lorenzo and got him murdered like that. So no, I was right. I'm gonna go back to standing 10 toes down on what I said. The biggest betrayal of book two was canceling this entire show for BMF. That's a fact too. That's definitely true. That's a betrayal in itself. Or the honor revealing Monet's secret. But then again, she had it coming. Nah, that was just the funniest betrayal. That's what that was. Destiny sending the text to Tariq to meet leading up to Raina's death. Well, Destiny didn't send that text. Ray Ray sent that text because remember Ray Ray had Destiny's phone. But I still don't think that, like I said, mine's is still greater because he never would have even met Destiny had Dre not betrayed Ghost. So I still think Dre betraying Ghost was bigger than that. Noma was the main antagonist in book two. Ghost had been working with Kane Betrayal by setting up a plan to get him killed. Yeah, but that ain't the biggest one. Kanan shooting his own moms is a betrayal from Rock's perspective. Yeah, but what I'm saying is Ronnie betraying Unique. You know, I don't know though. Really, I guess you can low key say Snaps and Pop betraying Kanan by taking out his best friend behind his back. You can low key say that's what it is because this nigga, we know what ended up happening after Famous was taken out. A lot of crazy stuff took place. Raising Kanan rock back for low Howard. Hmm? Lorenzo betrayed Monet's trust by lying to her about killing her son, Zeke, and her leading her on a wild goose chase. I mean, all of that may be true, but at the end of the day, we all know that was accidental, and it still doesn't matter. That what I mean, you can make a case, I guess, but he didn't necessarily betray her. He didn't tell her because come on, that's something very hard to tell. Like, bro, I imagine going up to a crazy psychotic woman like Monet and say, "Baby, please forgive me, but I accidentally killed your son." That's crazy. That's hard. Drake betrayal was complicated by his relationship with Ghost, with Tariq Ghost's son. He encouraged Tariq entry into the drug game and did not inform Ghost that Kanan was alive and in with Tariq. So basically, you pretty much agreeing with what I said. That's why I use Mega telling the media Zeke's age. Now that I think about it, Monet killing Carrie Milgram caused Zeke to want nothing to do with her at all. Damn. You know what? You know what, Hezzy? You can low key say that, yeah, that plays a huge part too. Because if she didn't do that, Zeke May would have, still been cool with but you know what? Yeah, it could be Dante leaking to the media about his age because that messed up his draft. And if his draft didn't never get messed up, he never would have been on that plane. And if he's not on that plane, Lorenzo wouldn't have been able to shoot him, mistaking him for Mecca. And then Monet would have never killed, Lorenzo, and then so on and so on. So low key, that was just that could be the greatest betrayal. The nigga leaked his own son's real age to the damn media just so he can be selfish and make them stay and be with him. Yeah, that's some messed up stuff. Angie betraying Greg is not the biggest, but she did him dirty. All for ghosts. That's a fact. She definitely did him dirty. Monet was already lying to Zeke then. Her killing his girl in line pushed him away. He probably would have been at the hangar. Wouldn't have been at the hangar. Yeah. Biggest betrayal to Zeke was realizing his whole life a lie, and that he basically a PDF. Yeah. Her lying to this nigga about his age, low key, was the biggest betrayal. I don't know if you can say that's a betrayal, but it's a lie for sure. But anyway, to everybody, what about Force? Y'all never. I don't think anybody in here has addressed Force. Not many betrayals in Force besides Janard going against Diamond or Vic killing his pops. Now, there's a lot of betrayals in Force. You just named two. Keep in mind, Vic was a betrayed Tommy and was a rat the whole time. And Tommy actually trusted him. So it actually kind of hurt him a little bit if you pay attention. And then what's the one I said? 'Cause I had said one already. What's up, all in? Well, you missed you about you're still here for a little bit over half of it. It could be, Claudia and Vic back doing they dad. Um, but yeah, like I said, as of now, that probably is the answer to Kari. But I think in the long run, it's going to end up being Diamond and Jannard working together to, betray Tommy because they both agreed to turn in. They both agreed to turn in, D-Mac. But since you just came in, all in, I'm gonna give you the two questions. I'm gonna fill you in really, really quick. So the first one, as you see up there at the top, we talked about Ghost's biggest downfall. If you want to go ahead and quickly give your answer to that, you can go ahead and give that, and then we basically now we're talking about the greatest betrayals, but we did all four spin-offs. So we did the original Power, book two, three, and four. Pretty much everybody out there gave the answers for books one through three, and now we're on four. Fourth possibly would have been Claudia having Vic killed. Right now, is Vic working with the Fed or Diamond and Janai planning to give up? Yeah, that's what I say. I said them planning on doing it. But since that, haven't necessarily happened yet, I guess you can still say, you know, um, basically the siblings betraying their dad. But I don't think that really, affected the rest of the characters of the show. I think Ghost was in a midlife crisis. Biggest betrayal is Tommy giving Kate the bag of blow. Vic was never really loyal to Tommy. Never even liked him to begin, especially over Gloria, but tolerated for business only. Well, that's kind of how it be a lot with all these motherfuckers, to be honest with you, of other ignorant groups. They a lot of the times they don't be liking other ignorant groups. Like Asians ain't gonna like a damn white person, but they'll tolerate with them, and so on and so on. Hmm. You think his greatest downfall was being stuck between fantasy and reality? Yeah, I mean, according to what we actually saw, I guess, in the show, yes. But according to what we know, like, things that were said, but not we didn't necessarily see it, that would be not leaving behind Tommy way back in the day when he had the opportunity to go to choke. Might well just leave this motherfucker out. And you see, Vic said he really didn't want to turn Tommy in, and every chance he got, originally he was trying to turn in Glotty. Biggest betrayal, Kanan getting set up by Ghost and Tasha to go to jail, and then ultimately betrayed again by Tariq and Tasha. They ultimately died. I mean, that was Kanan's biggest betrayal for sure, but not the show. Being a businessman in a suit 1 minute with blood from a person you killed in the garage is mine was gone. Ghost versus James was his down. All right. I mean, that's a good point that you're putting out there. The secret brother, after all, is James St. Patrick, his alter ego. That's good. That's your answer is much differently from everyone else. I don't think nobody else mentioned his ego being his biggest downfall, or came close to it. This is where Tariq may be better than him at. You really have to choose one side. Well, that's because being younger and get to see where others messed up at, he had the privilege of avoiding this. Plus, Tommy gave him that prep talk in season three, letting him know that that's where it goes fucked up at. Trying to live both sides of the world, you got to just pick one. And I think that's what ultimately made him come up with the decision that he can't have his mother around, and then of course telling Braden, you know, we're now on equal terms. All right, though. Ghost even being legit would always be running from his past. Well, I think if he would have just went to choke, because that was my answer. If he would have just left and went to choke with Angela, then that could have been avoided. In season one, I was season in season I was waiting for someone to walk in, seeing Ghost kiss Angela, but it's nothing but him kissing the window. Hmm? Yeah, the greatest betrayal. My answer was Dre betraying Ghost. What's your answer to that? I would like to see Tariq start over in a new city with a new crew. I'm tired of Braden, Effie, and the Don. I originally tuned in for Tariq's story, not theirs. Well, I think a lot of people can agree to that. But that's what we mean by the Tejadas low key, took over the show. Yeah, it's a lot of betrayals for sure. That's why you gotta come up with the best one. I would say letting Kanan back in was how Ghost betrayed himself. Letting him back in, as in, what you mean by letting him back in? You definitely got a point there. The biggest betrayal for them damn unique fans was definitely him not being brave. Oh boy. I know, hey, I know it hit Fair Play and Getting How I Live the hardest. Cause them niggas, probably Nate too, but them niggas was pushing hard that it was unique. Like I had my little share of it, but I wasn't pushing as hard as them niggas. Like Getting How I Live and Fair Play was pushing that shit hard, and they was pushing that shit for a long time. After he came unexpected from prison, Kanan should have been out of there, like Tasha said. Okay, so basically, you're saying you kind of agreeing with. I think Hezzy said that they should have just took Kanan ass out from the big jump. But anyways, let me go ahead and just dive into this next one. The next one, number three. What was the most influential death? Yeah, as y'all see the photo up there at the top, kind of giving you somewhat an idea. So basically, when I say what's the most influential death, like what death in the entirety of the Power universe? I mean, we could go from each show with this one too, but basically, I'm wondering what death affected the rest of the storyline the most. Like this happened because of the death of this person. Then this happened because after that, and then this happened after that. Like, a war break out, but this was the start of the war. And then of course a lot of other casualties happened after that. Biggest betrayal in Power Universe was Courtney Kemp jumping ship and leaving the shows in the hands of these whack writers. Yeah, that's definitely. And then it's crazy. The end of season 6 was, their theme was the final betrayal. Little did we know it was her talking about how she betrayed us. Oh shit. Now in Raising Canaan, Scrap and his mom died from rocking Lou for nothing. I mean, he made it dead, but I don't think it affected nothing too much. I kind of figured a lot of people would be saying Roller. Roller was just a side character, to be honest. He barely appears much or anyway, but yeah, his death affected Ghost the hardest. Yeah, well, let's go. Let's go through Roller. Roller's death left Ghost a little bit more vulnerable. He no longer had anybody that he trusted outside of Tommy, and of course, him later on. This also led to Ghost to start back drinking because remember he had his first drink that we saw of after the death of Roller, and then I think it messed him up even more for him to find out that Roller wasn't even responsible for it. But I still don't know if I can say that's the most influential death. I think we can dig a little deeper than that. I know who it is. I'm trying to. I'm waiting on y'all to see if y'all can discover. I know what I think it is because I'm gonna tell y'all. This particular death affected a lot of shit. I'm talking about a lot of things happened because of this particular death. Greg Knox. Okay, let's go. Let's go ahead and look down Greg Knox. So the death of Greg Knox ultimately got Ghost arrested. You know, um, that it got that Homeland Security dude killed. What the hell's Demarcus at anyway? To give me the names of these people when I forget them. Shit. Anyways, the Homeland Security dude, Markham or whatever his name was, he ended up getting killed because of that. Because he actually had the tape from Greg. But honestly, I don't even know if the death of Greg even prevented that. So, I mean, caused that. So I don't even know about that. But let's see what else. It ultimately led to Ghost going to jail, and then Tasha meeting Terry Silver. So Terry Silver got involved because of Greg Knox. So it's digging a little deep. And then if Terry Silver never would have been around, Tasha probably, I don't know, who knows? Do I think it's a possibility maybe that Tasha and Ghost could have got back together? Probably not. But I mean, it got a little bit of a reach, but it don't go too far. It definitely wasn't the most influential. You might say Greg was a zip, which he was. Okay, well, it looked like a majority is saying Roller. Now let's see. Lobos, Angela, Breeze. Okay, so let's go down the line with these. Lobos, the death of Lobos caused Angela to get in trouble with her job. It it caused them to look for a new connect, and that's what got Milan in the picture. And then now that we later on figured out that the death of Lobos is what stopped him from finding out that your boy Mecca was snitching. So let's say if Ghost never took him out, Lobos finds out that Mecca snitched on him. So maybe in book two, Ghost we never would have got introduced to Mecca because Lobos would have got him, more than likely. But still, all in all, I don't think Lobos is the answer. Now let's look at Angela. Angela, her death caused the first fight that we seen between Ghost and Tommy, like physical altercation, where they both throwing blows at each other. We even seen them both shoot at each other, right? This it also made Paz been hated him though, so I ain't gonna say that. It made Cooper Sacks go ape shit crazy on trying to arrest Ghost, along with John Mott. But also, you low key can make a strong argument that it partially was the cause of Joe Proctor's death too. Because keep in mind, the only reason why Joe Proctor was killed because Cooper Sacks wanted to know who was responsible for taking out Angela. And then, of course, with him snitching, that's the reason why Tommy came to get him. If Angela, no dead Angela, then Proctor never gets in that predicament and he's still alive. So that's also one. Angela is a good one. It's still not the answer. Y'all still missing the person that caused all of it. Breeze, I mean, Breeze is such a mystery. It's kind of hard to say. I think the death of Breeze may have absolutely affected both, well, all three of them really, Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy. But we really can't say how much because we never seen it. So can't really say Breeze. Roller Death was part of Kanan's plan to get revenge on Ghost and get him set to prison. Yeah, we know that. Mike Sandoval. So Mike Sandoval, the death of Mike Sandoval just prevented stuff really. I can't say it really. I can't say it really was influential to the rest of the characters really. They just basically him dying was stopping them from getting exposed as being co-conspirators to the Lobo situation, but that's about as far as it go. Greg Dev definitely led to Mike Sandoval. That's true. That's true. I forgot to mention that. So you saying Ghost dad, yeah, it affected him, but once again, I would say it's under the same as Breeze. We don't know how far that went. Bailey Markham has Homeland Security that Tommy killed in Joe Proctor's apartment. John Mott didn't care about Angela at all. He just wanted to win. Bree's death was influential if they led to Ghost's own son shooting him, even though Breeze had nothing to do with Tariq at all. Okay, so it seems like everybody is looking over what the real answer is. So I guess I'm gonna have to just go ahead and tell you. And I think after I tell y'all probably will agree. The biggest influential death. I'm actually surprised nobody said Raina, to be honest with you. Because let's go ahead and go down the line with Raina. It affected a lot of things, people. It affected Tariq and how he's moving, because it caused Tariq to catch his first body. You said Raina where? I didn't see that. Oh, you did say it right up there. Okay. Well, anyways, it caused Tariq to catch his first body, make a mistake in the same progress, and then of course, Ghost started drinking heavily. I think it blew up Ghost and Tasha's marriage even more because that's when Tasha was like she really can't be with around him because of how he was acting. Dealing with that. Um, what else did it affect? Low key, you can say Raina's death was the most influential, people, and I'm gonna tell you why. Raina's death. You real close now. Basically, that was the answer, Hezekiah. Ray Ray, but actually it's Raina because Raina is the cause of Ray Ray's death. So let's go ahead and do it. Right after Raina was killed, of course, that caused um Tariq to catch his first body, and that pretty much submitted him in the game. Pretty much he was gone after that. He was I don't think it was no talking him out of it after that particular incident, him seeing his sister killed right in front of him, right? So after Ray Ray died and Tariq made the mistake, this this was literally a ripple effect. Like this caused Angela to start being dirty to try to help them cover it up. This caused you know, Ghost to tell Tariq that he would take, the blame for him because of the the Ray Ray murder. Also, Tasha was in the middle of it trying to stop it. This led to um Lakeisha happen to make a false statement saying that she's seen, because keep in mind the death of Raina is what caused the death of Kanan, because Kanan only was killed because they needed somebody to take the fall because of what Tariq did with Ray Ray. So that led to Kanan's death. And keep in mind, Lakeisha ended up having to do a false statement saying that she seen Kanan inside of the penthouse and had an opportunity to take the gun. So since she's saying that, Kanan was there, of course they put the blame on Kanan. And then keep in mind she made a statement. Ultimately, Tasha went to Lakeisha's house to confront her about making sure she didn't change her statement. Because remember, once the feds were starting to close in again, they were worried that Lakeisha might not defend them no more. So that's what ultimately led to Lakeisha's death as well. And then after the Lakeisha situation, of course, we had, Lorenz Tate line saying, the Ray Ray murder is coming close on Tariq and Ghost is planning on turning them in. All of that of Ghost, the potential of Ghost, getting the idea of telling Tariq to turn himself in. Um, that's what ultimately led to Tariq killing his father. So the answer to that is absolutely right. And you right, Granny started drinking after that too. Exactly. A lot of shit happened after Raina died. Shit went downhill. Ghost's mind was gone. She was Tasha mind was gone. She was on meds, right? Led to Blanca to start investigating the family. Yeah, exactly. That's what brought Blanca in. I forgot about to mention that, but yeah, that's what got Blanca started. On this topic, do you think Ghost and Tommy plan to frame Dre for Ray Ray was a better plan? Yes. Actually, I'm gonna go with yes. That's a good topic. Matter of fact, I should have made that an individual one for later. We can go ahead and do it now in the middle of this one. But yes, I do think that would have been the better plan. I get it. They want to frame somebody that didn't have no family and stuff like that would have been more challenging and stuff like that. But with the power of the U.S. assistant attorney on their side trying to frame him, and then of course them actually taking because keep in mind originally their plan was Tommy and Ghost was gonna take Dre out. So if they took him out and Dre's not there to defend himself and they drop all of it on him, typically if they don't have any, more leads, they're gonna just go ahead and let that go. They're not gonna continue to pursue it. So it probably would have worked opposed to doing it with Kanan, and that affected Tariq. If they would have just framed Dre, Tariq probably wouldn't have cared as much. I don't think it would have affected him nearly as bad, and it would have been done. And they never would have had to involve Lakeisha. Keep that in mind. So Lakeisha, more than likely, would still be alive because she never would have had to lie about anything. So to answer your question, in my opinion, and everybody else can, give their opinions on this, but I think going with Dre would have been the better plan. Raina death had profound effect on the parents, Ghost and Tasha, and her twin brother, Tariq, was who was present and witnessed the murder. I mean, it has nothing to do with anything. We knew that, but all right. What comment I skip of yours? Okay, most influential death is Miguel in the first episode of season one, as Ghost killing him and leaving Maria and leaving Maria go led to Maria snitching to the cops, then smoked by Tommy's. I mean, that didn't influence that didn't affect nothing though. Her dying didn't affect nothing. I mean, she circled back later on, but it didn't affect anything. Yeah, exactly. They had the Diego head and everything. It would have made him look real bad if they would have just put that in there, and it would have looked like Dre was capable of stuff like that. Of course they would have just said, okay, yeah, the Jimenez retaliated and took Dre out. I think it would have worked. I agree with you. They had a video evidence of Dre and Ray Ray talking to each other on the street. They definitely had something planned out as opposed to Tasha. Right. And I don't know why the hell Angela ended up siding with her, talking about his plan wouldn't have worked. Yes, the hell it would have. Especially like Ghost said, the fact that their plan had to involve Tariq. Ghost's plan wouldn't have involved him. I was happy when Raina died because she has to be one of the ugliest characters in Power. Damn, nigga, you a savage. History look nothing like Tariq's twin. God damn. Damn, that's tough, man. I mean, they were they were fraternal twins. Not all twins look alike. Yeah, all twins don't look alike for sure. Let's not do her like that. You heard what the ghost said. Let me see that face. Face. What, one dead kid ain't enough for you? Fuck you, ghost. You deserve that. That was some funny shit. Well, Raina death could have been on all of them, but I know her death is what affected the whole impact of the storyline after that. Like, anyways, though, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the last topic. Let somebody else have more to share on this one. He was right though. What if Kanan decided to kill Tariq? That would have been Tasha and Angela fault. Exactly. They lucky that he actually had so much love for that man that he decided to just let him go because he absolutely had his opportunity to do it, and then that would have been on them. And I'm pretty sure she never would have been able to live that down because then they would have lost both kids. That was good acting Ghost and Tasha did in the car after her death. Yep. Ghost and Tasha always have really good scenes, actually, especially when they be, having these argumentative scenes and shit. They be really good. Anyways, though, on to the final one, and that is who is the most valuable character in Power Universe, and you can't use Ghost. I knew this nigga gonna say Tariq. You can't say Giants, nigga. I just we got Tariq, we got Rock, we got Kanan. Nigga, you know what I meant talking about something you said, girl. Oh boy. My cousin actually looks like Detective Howard, by the way. For those of y'all that gave your answers, give me a brief, reason why you're stating those particular characters. Really? Hold on. So Lala confirmed that BMF is done. Where she do that at? What did she say? The question right now is who is the most valuable character of the Power universe outside of Ghost slash James St. Patrick? You can't use Ghost nor James St. Patrick since this nigga want to separate. I saw that too. She slipped up with that one. Really? What did she say? I need to see that so I can report on this shit. Hmm. Yeah, she did an interview. She said BMF is done and we had a good run. Y'all can see, y'all can still see me on the shot. Oh shit. Well, can y'all give y'all reasonings for why y'all picking who y'all pick? I'm gonna give mine in a short minute. Kanan ultimately played chess and flipped the board over. New game. Right. Gonna try to flip it. Tariq and Tommy got all the juice. There is no more power once they go. Yeah, but I just meant like, including the characters that already passed away. So Kanan does count along with Breeze and, other characters. She did an interview with Angie Martinez. The full video is on YouTube. Okay, I'm probably do a video on it a little later tomorrow. Tomorrow, I won't be doing the morning show. I only do that in the weekdays, so you know, I have a little bit more free time to do other stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and just dive in on it. I think, hold on, Baris is nobody to me. All that hype for a nigga who look like Cole from Martin. All right, wait till that season 5 come. That boy gonna shit the car up. Cole gonna let you know. Cole and Big Shirley gonna show you. But yeah, so I think the answer to that is probably, and is honestly, it's probably obviously Kanan because he has a lot of influence on other characters. Um, let's be real, he's the one who influenced. Well, shoot, he even influenced Ghost. He's the one taught Ghost the game, taught Tommy. Possibly, a lot of us are starting to speculate that he may have even influenced Ghost to take out Breeze. It's something between him and Tasha. We still don't know what it is yet, but he left his print on her some kind of way too. But he absolutely influenced Tariq to becoming, who he's became now. Um, you know, and I mean, he's just a great face of the Pirate universe. So I would say you can make a strong argument for Kanan, and probably you also can make a strong argument for Rock too, though, because I mean, she's the mother. She's the one helped raise that hideous species of a dude. I want to know why Ghost just didn't kill him. Yeah, it's something he had. But like he said, he was there for him once his dad died. So I think that's probably what paid the biggest part. Marvin's loyalty to his sister Rock and her drug empire often overshadows his responsibility as a father. Well, more so in the beginning stages. I think he kind of got much better after season two. Kanan also the reason Jukebox went to DC and became a cop. That's also true. Kanan also, keep in mind, had a great influence on the outcome of Dre, who was another major character. Kanan also, I don't know. Now I can't even put that. But yeah, Kanan, I don't know, because he's definitely was super influential. So he was super valuable to the show. I mean, outside of Ghost, I think the rest of it don't move without him. Dre could have been another Ghost, but instead became the original B Mickey. I would have preferred Kanan living over Tommy. Yeah, I can see that. So that's why I said, he probably is a little bit more viable. Tasha is a PDF messing with Sean, someone who was basically a nephew to her and Ghost, knew him since he was a child. Yeah. Yeah, I know how a lot of women love to, call guys pedophiles and all that and stuff like that. if they knew. Because let's be real, if it was a dude that knew a girl since she was a child, and then later on he started messing with her, y'all gonna say he probably was looking at her, earlier. So we need to keep that same energy for Tasha. He did make snaps and pops get back in the game. That's true. Who knows? They probably would have got back in anyways, but yeah, that's what we saw. I knew you couldn't kill Ghost because you weak. Ghost was so weak he would have killed you his damn self. His motherfucking self. Get that fucking phone out your head. Who you trying to call? You alright? Kanan really was a victim slash villain of his circumstance. That's true. Because Kanan could have been a good kid, but Rock fucked his life up. That relationship made Tasha whole image bad, nothing good. She done overrides this. Fucked up part is Tariq will never find out about Sean and Tasha. Hey, don't say never. If Ghost still alive and he resurfaced, he could tell him. Keep in mind, Tasha. I mean, Tommy also knew too. I think. Yeah, yeah, because Lakeisha told Tommy. So yeah, Tommy knew too. So it's still a possibility he can find out. Lulu continues to search for an exit from the gang, recognizing that it can only end in jail or death, as his girlfriend Jessica warned him. Right, because he's Ghost's dad. Hold on. Is that true? Yeah, it was Ronnie, low key. But low key, they went back in the game with Ronnie. They just loaned him money. Yeah, we be talking about this a lot, and I think, yeah, he definitely would have seen things differently if he would have known that. He would be like, "Damn, Mama was foul." Nah, Tariq would have never considered killing her, I don't think, but he definitely would have looked at things differently. I don't like how Tasha was a hoe when Ghost was alive, but then never got a new love interest in book two. Yes, she did. She got the Jake from State Farm, dude. The original Jake though, not the new one. You know, what are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? Khakis. She got what it say. He sounds hideous. Damn, Sean Depp actually another influential death. Yeah, it is. Pretty strong. That's why Tariq told Tasha he has to separate now being the apex predator. If he want to call that nigga that. What big dude don't count? To my dude at the too. I don't know how he don't count. You seen how he was on Rachel. On another topic, I know some women are hoes, but Tasha is called out more than the other women in power. Probably because Tasha has fucked the most men in power. Sorry. Just say it. It's Tasha followed by Angela. Yeah, she did. Let's count them up. Ghost, Sean, Terry Silver, Q. That's four. Angela did three. Ghost, Greg, and Steve Tapio. Lakeisha did two. Sean, Tommy. So yeah, that's the reason why she got the rep. She earned that title. The craziest part is she the only one married of all of them too. How can Kanan be an honorable mention? Getting ready for that Kane and Tasha's clapping scene in Power Legacy. I don't think they're gonna do that. Like that'd be kind of crazy. And then Tasha need to. I don't know though. She probably have by now, but I was gonna say she need to get some of that weight off of her. But yeah, she she's older too. So now Hold on. Carrie got four? Four? Hold on. You talking about judging by what they said, but she didn't do four that we saw. Only ones we saw was Zeke and Jabari. Yeah, Carrie don't count because if that's the case, we going by hearsay. You know, I mean, I guess you can. That's if you want to go by hearsay. But what we seen physically ourselves is definitely, Tasha. Her and Ghost probably has an open relationship to begin with. How she told him to keep handling Angela. That's because the nigga had already left. Hell no, they ain't had no damn open relationship. Ghost wasn't playing that shit with that. Hell about it. Hey, wait a minute. Monet had three. Ramirez, Lorenzo, Becca. Yeah, Monet was out there. She ain't got more than Tasha though. Let's see, Rock. She had Unique, Howard. Even though we didn't see Howard, we know she did because she got a child. But I guess if we only count the ones that we saw, it'll be Unique. Um, Damn, what's that nigga name? Symphony. So Unique and Symphony. That's all we saw, right? Yeah, and then we know she did something with Howard. But yeah, to me, it don't count as what we know. It's more so little ones. Oh, I didn't see you say it off screen. Yeah, yeah. Davis McLean was on her ass and good. Carrie doesn't count. In court, she admitted to Davis and the cop. So that's a fact. She does count. Well, I mean, I'm just talking about the stuff we saw. But if you want to do that, then absolutely, yeah. Hers goes up for sure. But if we doing by that, I was just about to say, look like all that already don't beat me to it. But if we doing it by that, then that means Rock's count go up too. Because we would have to add Howard, high post. So that's four for her. Yep, Howard and high post. So that means Rock would be at four. Well, we ain't count DEFCON because we know they didn't do nothing. So, but the high post, he wasn't gay, so pretty sure he was smashing. The streets ain't got nothing to do with the nigga not smashing. Then being gay. Gay is gay. Professor Hotbox Mildred Locke and Key Carey. That's what he used to call them. It's five for Rock? Hold on, how? Let me go down the line. Howard, High Post, Symphony, Unique. Where's the fifth? Because DEFCON don't count because DEFCON was gay. We know he wasn't smashing her. She said it. Right. Paying her for appearance sake. Yeah, you can't count DEF CON though. Hmm. Kanan doesn't know get DEF CON was a rainbow fanatic. I mean, I don't think nobody directly told him that, but he kind of, I think he kind of got the, like, he ain't stupid. I think he kind of figured it out. I wonder how Kanan would feel if he did. I mean, he don't give a fuck. It ain't his daddy. Why would he? I want to know what Pops and Snaps knew on DEF CON since he worked with them. That's a mystery. Yeah, now I do kind of wonder, do they know? But more than likely they did because you can tell the way um, you can kind of tell the way Pops was talking when saying that they never seen him mess with a girl. I want to know. I want to know. Dun, 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 dun. All in, you at work right now? Matter of fact, all in, what's your name? So we can stop so we can stop calling her all in. I just noticed all of us call her that. We never really asked her what's the name that we can call her. Ollie. Okay. Allie. Alley cat. Was Chandra. Mm. Anyways, let me hop. Too bad the Mark is not in here, so I can't control him about BML. Damn. 'Cause I told him that I said, bro, that trash shit about to get canceled. I'm telling you. Lost that much in viewership? Ain't no way they're keeping that show around. Crazy how that button don't work. I made a post that Brasandra was the MVP of Ghost Power 2. How was she the MVP? Black folks will make any kind of name though, that's for sure. We don't give a damn what we put. Ah shit. They bought to have to merge with a bigger network. Good but smart. Never talked to the laws. Made it out. I don't know if they qualify her to be the MVP, but yeah, she definitely did that thing. I could see them maybe later on down the line possibly bumping her too, bumping her up some. Yeah, nah, Netflix ain't taking no damn BML. I mean, they may would, maybe, but it's not gonna change anything. I don't think, unless they like change the writers and all that shit. Head be itching like a bitch, boy. I tell you. But anyway, though, I ain't got much longer up on here, y'all, so we can get ready to get our last little remarks out because I'm about to get ready to get up out here. We at the two, almost at the 2.5 hour mark. How the documentary with Terry gonna go? Can't wait to see it. So is that gonna be an episodic um type of a series or some shit, like a mini series, or is it just a documentary like one movie or some shit? No BMF got to go to Diddy channel revote. 50 Cent will never let that happen. The documentary will have Little Meech and Da Vinci return as Young Meech and Terry. They won't. Yeah, Little Meech ass is cooked. That's why he's still over there hanging with Rick Ross. He already know he cooked. He's like, man, fuck it. I think BML should just move on. Season 4 was cool, but season 3 was just disgusting for a TV show. That is nothing but 100% facts. It's sad how one season can be that bad that everybody just want to throw the whole show away. But that season was literally that bad. I can't believe they thought that was okay. And then they added one, not just one, but many atrocious actors to it. Like you added, first off, they added two of the worst actors I've ever seen to that shit. Like they added two changes a regular, and that nigga was garbage, boy. And then they added Young Miami, and even though she wasn't in it that long, her one atrocious thing alone was enough to make everybody know that okay, yeah, this shit is a joke. Stars, the BMF documentary Blowing Money Fast has been renewed for a six-part second season featuring an exclusive interview with Terry Flannery. So the first one was with Lucille, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's why the ratings took a hit. It's all season three fault. It is. Season three was terrible, bro. Then they had that Duke ass Tupac. Excuse me. It was a lot of bad things up in that third season. Then on top of it, no Lamar, no B Mickey. I hate that. I hate that no people who at the real BMF as a joke when they was really changing the game in their day. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I would love to know what do the real people like, because I know the one that who B Mickey actually came from. I seen what he had to say about some of it. But I would be curious to know what Lucille got to think of it because I don't know how true this is, but some folks said that she said a lot of that shit wasn't true. So I wonder what they think of it. Like, man, this shit garbage. What did they do they think that? What's up, T? That's something I should do too. Have a segment. And this don't have to just be with power. We can add power, BMF, and a couple other shit. Top five most atrocious actors. Number one is definitely Young Miami. Then I probably could get my five right now. Number one, Young Miami. Number two, Two Chains. Actually, I don't know. Two Chains could be number one because that nigga pretty bad. And on top of that, he actually had good screen time and was still just terrible. So then you can throw Meech ass up in there. Little Meech, that nigga garbage. The worst part with him is he a lead in that garbage. Then you can throw Lala in there, of course. You can't let her escape. Crazy. All of them coming from the same show. Duke ass shit. I think Tariq shot two shot. Nigga, what the hell you talking about? What was his name on BMF? I forgot. That's how bad he was. Nigga was garbage. The writers have lost their handle on the timeline. You see, they only gave Lil Baby one word, not even a line. One word. What was his one word? Guess we'll be watching Reasonable Doubt until fourth. Yes, sir. I'm gonna actually do the breakdown. Well, actually, I already done did it, but I'm gonna release it unless I decide to do a redo on it. I don't know. I might do it over, but no, I'm gonna just release the one I got for that. But yeah, I already did a reaction and breakdown of the trailer, so I'm probably gonna be releasing that later on today. Uh, I'm gonna do a one for Beauty in Black too. Only thing I hate about that shit is that Netflix shows they release the entire season at once. I really hate that. BMF and Power in the same universe. BMF is set in the 2020s era. They've been speaking modern lingo. Unfortunately, they have. My body, my choice. Yeah. I don't think nobody would probably rewatch BMF, bro. Especially season three. Nobody rewatched that shit. That shit was garbage. Little dirt on. Hold on. What did I miss? What did she say? What did Alice say? Are you talking about Lil Durk when he was on book two? It wasn't nearly. You asked me. It wasn't even comparable to the Young Miami Nora. Young Miami Nora two James. Not even comparable. I know it's not. It's because I didn't really notice it like that. If they was anywhere near as bad as them, I would have noticed it. They can't finish that storyline for him to come back. Hold on. What are you referring to? Oh, Cash, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Takari. Cash is garbage. Like that nigga's terrible. Yasmin is pretty damn bad too. You can't say Makai though, bro. Come on, man. You can't say Makai when you got we ain't unless you talking about strictly power. And even if you're talking about strictly power, it's still not him. I can agree upon Cash and Yasmin, but it's other, you know what I'm saying? It's other goddamn other people you could pick over him. Like for instance, Lala. She Makai is better than Lala. Yas in book two looks 9 years old, but acts like she's 4 years old. Oh boy, cause yeah, it is. I don't know, bro. Like you can tell it kind of bothers me. Like you can tell how certain people are just saying words. They're not actually acting. They're just saying the words. Yas is one of them. But at least she's still pretty young. She should still be better than this as long as she's been doing it. But um, at least she's young. This nigga Meech, nigga, you a grown ass man. You that terrible. And Lala, you've been doing it way too long, and of course you grown as hell to be that bad. Lala says she has had a 10-year run with these shows. 50 a good friend. Hey, 50 is a good friend. No lie. She ain't telling no lies. Cause there's no way she should be that at the acting level she's at and still getting jobs. He a good friend for sure. And 50 Cent, to be honest with you, 50 Cent do look like one of those type of guys that once you get in good with him, as long as you don't do nothing that he feel like you crossed him, you know what I'm saying? He looks like he's one of those guys that he'll be there for you in the long run. Like I always, fuck with you. If you hurting, he'll help you out. He seems like that type of guy. Even the kids from Are We There Yet? We're better actors than oh shit. Was Zeke's acting bad or was it just so unintentionally funny that it gets a pass. You know, that's crazy, bro. Zeke is actually because of course he was really funny. And I used to I was used to think that shit myself. Is it that this nigga's that bad, or is it that he's intentionally doing it? I don't know. I would have to see him in something else to kind of judge it. Cause it's like he wasn't bad, but he was at the same. It's so crazy. Like that nigga Zeke is a gray area. Lil Meech was entitled thinking he was that good. I don't know why, cause nigga, you definitely ain't. Plot twist, Lala and 50 are actually clapping. A lot of people be saying that, but I don't know. I think he might just be actually fucking with her like that. I'm gonna give Zeke a pass. I think it was intentionally written for him to be a dumb jock. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I believe because I know he also had this movie where it wasn't too popular, of course, but he played Kevin Durant up in some kind of bio film of Kevin Durant's life, and he played him. I would have to go and watch that and see how he did to really make judgment. Why does why the down south people got to be dumb? I don't like that at all. Facts, all in. That's what I'm saying. Nobody in real life would honestly believe they are 5 years old when they actually 10. That's a big fact. Well, some people actually do be tall for their age though. Cause like nigga Shaq was like, how tall was Shaq? I think they said that nigga was 6 feet when he was 11. Tariq played in Barbershop 2 in the movie. Yeah, we know. In Zeke high school years, teacher. How old are you, Zeke? Zeke, 15 years old. Reality, 20. Well, he was actually only 4 years older than what he died. Just to give him a little bit of grace. It was 4 years. So technically he was 19. Imagine that though. Zeke having a crush on his teacher in high school. And they like, baby, you too old, not knowing he was legal. You see, he never figured out that he older than he was. Bro, that gotta be some all time great level of stupidity for this nigga to really believe that. Man, that's crazy. Then when he seen his birth certificate, first thing he said was, "It ain't my birthday. It's the wrong year." Man, first off, he's still stupid for saying that shit because technically it's still your birthday. It's just the wrong year, you fucking idiot. That man was dumb as hell, bro. Braden, the only one who knew Zeke was old. Lou Young killed that scene of Zeke. Yeah. That wasn't my dad. That wasn't my dad. Right, Auntie? Zeke, that's not your auntie. That shit was so funny, but that gotta be one of the best episodes, at least one of the funniest episodes for sure of the goddamn series. If Zeke was still alive, he would catch a case for every high school girl he slept with. That NBA buddy would have been gone. Oh shit, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, he would have. But I didn't lie. I didn't lie. You did. You lied. He had been somewhere in jail. I didn't lie. She did. Arrest her. Yeah, he never did get the money. But hypothetically speaking, if he would have had an opportunity to actually make it to the NBA. What you mean he was going to the G League? He was actually ranked. Remember? They're gonna mess up my draft. He kept talking about the draft. The way he was talking about the draft, he was ranked. I don't know if he was a lottery pick, but he was ranked. Like he was getting drafted. Right. They did fail my boy Zeke, man. It's crazy. If Zeke was still alive, he'll still believe Monet was his auntie and his birthday is the wrong year. No, no, he wouldn't. He forgot the whole data. His father did him the work. Yeah, his father did him up. He did him in, bro. Fucked up that my whole life, literally. But anyways, people, I'm about to go ahead and get up off here. So once again, like always, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all that stopped through and rock with your boy. But it is time for me to wrap this thing up. And I'm actually finally about to get a good night's sleep because normally, when I'm doing after hours, I don't go to sleep till probably like 5, sometimes 6. Like yesterday, I didn't go to sleep till 6 something. Then get right back up at 9. And I keep doing that shit. So I'm about to take advantage of this sleep right now. Maybe. I don't know. I stay up. What the fuck is she talking about, Bo? You should leave. You too, Ali. I'll see y'all on the next one. No morning show. Might be a night one, but it ain't gonna be no morning show. I only do the morning ones on the weekdays. But I definitely be on the lookout because I'm gonna be putting out videos. I'm also gonna start a new channel too. It's gonna be a little different, but yeah, start a new channel. We'll start working on that tomorrow. But anyways, though, salute to all of y'all good people, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. I'm about to watch some Power tonight too. It ain't gonna be book 2, but I'm watching the original. But anyways, see y'all.